Hey, good evening. How are you doing? Welcome to tonight's stream. This is the third of our streams looking at TSW3, and we, of course, have been on Southeastern High Speed. We've done Castle Versberg, so that only leaves Cajon Pass. So Cajon Pass is tonight. Ant-Man, how you doing? Good to see you. Excuse my voice, it's a bit croaky tonight. Let's see. Let me just get the link to the stream for the Discord. And then we'll get underway, because I think we'll do a full run tonight. So, it's probably going to be a couple of hours. I think a couple of hours is the scheduled time for one of these. So let me first get into the route itself. Right, where are we? I've added all the DLCs now, so it's getting confusing on this screen. Not all the DLCs yet, of course, because we've got the 3-week rollout for PlayStation, so we can't get everything straight away. But let us go in the ES44C4. The Thunder's the game, Ant-Man. Yeah. Last night it was pretty bad here for real, but yeah, it's actually in the game this time. So not guilty, Gov. Let's find the 2-hour one. I think it's about 17 something, is it? 17:36. So this one is the Intermodal from Los Angeles to Albuquerque. And for the weather, I think we will go for some... We'll go for some light clouds, I think. Oh, it's just been raining, has it, Ant-Man, at your end? Yeah, it was pretty bad last night. The rain was pretty torrential as well, so... Hi, Dave. Oh, the Queen has just died, has she? It's just been announced on TV. Wow, yeah. She wasn't very good, was she? I saw that earlier. Yeah, just saw it now. Yeah, just saw it on the app. That's a shame. Hey, Peanut, how are you? Yeah, you did make it, yeah. Right, let's get started. Give me 1 second. Right. Let's go. Yeah, I'm pretty good. Thanks, Peanut. Yeah. Yeah, it's good to do a couple of streams as well this week after the live ones being a bit hit and miss over the last month, holiday season and whatnot. It's been a bit of a challenge, but hopefully we'll get back to some regular stuff, especially with all these new games that are coming out. I think TSW3 is going to keep us busy for a fair bit. Right, so let's get underway. Now I'm going to do this from memory. Generate a field on, reverse a handle in. Let's do the banking com before we do anything else. Automatic brake is on. Independent is full, so we can take off that. Let's check the lights down here somewhere. We'll put them on bright. What other lights have we got actually? Emergency lights, we don't need those on, do we? I think that's it. So if we take off the independent brake now, put some throttle in. Oh. Helps if I put it in forward, doesn't it? Of course. Right, now we're rolling backwards. Let's just put the brakes on. Not a good start, was it? Right, now we're going the correct way. double check that is off. Leave it set to automatic brake actually. So thanks Dave for suggesting this service that we're doing. Wow, that sun's quite nice, isn't it? That late afternoon, sort of early evening sun is quite nice. The lighting's definitely the big feature, isn't it? Love it. Let me know about the game sound as well, just to make sure that it's the right level and you can hear me, because I know these freight routes are slightly heavy on the audio, aren't they, compared to some of the other routes. So just let me know if that's all right, and I can turn it down if need to be. Right, we've got 58 miles to Barstow. Let's have a look at the map actually. So we are down this bottom end, and we're going all the way right across the whole route, which is quite nice. This is a first for me, so I haven't looked. Did the training modules for the locos, which of course take place in the training centre, but that's it. That's all I've done. So hopefully this will be a really enjoyable run. It's a long run. Wow, look at those mountains. Love it. Yeah, it's a long run, but it should be interesting. Let's get some power in. Get up to speed. The sound's fine, is it? That's good. Hey Corby, how you doing? Up the hill we go. Yeah. You're doing a local whilst watching. Cool. Thanks for coming in, everybody. This will be my new Sunday morning route, I think. Because, as you know, that's when I like to run these American freight ones. A relaxing couple of hours on a Sunday morning. Horn. Plenty of static traffic here down this end. I'm going to speed on. That's not a good thing. Let me go in and turn that bell off, because that gets a bit annoying, doesn't it, after a while. I think we've had enough alarms and things this week, haven't we, to last a lifetime. Don't need any more of that. I still didn't get an answer, by the way, on that. I'm still trying to find out if that on Castle Bursberg is an acknowledged bug. Still people reporting it on the forums, which makes me suggest that it definitely is. Like I said the other night, if that happened in reality, the driver would just pull over, wouldn't he? And he'd call for a replacement, I think. Passengers would be off. I don't think they'd put up with that. I'm looking forward to playing some of these other freight routes as well, you know, with the new lighting, well, the new dynamic weather, I should say. I think, like I was saying the other night, it's going to make a big difference. It's going to be like running some of those routes again, isn't it, from the beginning. I had a very quick go on Bakerloo before, and the new timetable that's been put in, that's definitely really busy. The 2021 timetable that's been added as part of the preservation crew. If you've not tried that yet, give it a try. It's quite good. So much detail in this route. It looks to me, and like I said, I haven't been across this route yet, but from looking in the streams and what I've seen so far, it looks like the most detailed of the freight routes that we've got in Train Sim World. All this built-up area, and when we get out into the sticks, to the sides of the track as well, looks like there's been a lot more detail put in as well, rather than on Sherman Hill, for example. It was very plain, wasn't it? Either side of the track. Looks like there's a bit more in this, so that's really nice to see. Peanut says it doesn't change as fluid on all routes, but it's still cool. The weather, yeah. It's a good addition though, isn't it? It's better than not having it. Can you imagine if you played some of these new routes and then went back to the old ones and they just look completely different? I think we'd all have something to say about that. Then they'd have to try and work on it. So it's good that they've put it in at the start. Oh wow, the mountains are popping in a little bit there, but I guess there's a lot going on. Queen Bee, aka Stace, under your other handle, how are you doing? You done with the news now? Yeah, Dave told us actually. Dave mentioned when he joined what's just happened. I think it was on the cards, wasn't it, when they were all travelling up there this afternoon? One thing I've noticed with this route is it's not flat at all, is it? And like Corby said, you know, we're going uphill, but there seems to be a lot of up and down just generally on this route. It's never very flat for any length of time, which is quite good. So you think some of these routes are a little bit unchallenging, and it's like just an A to B. You don't really have to do much once you left one end, but actually you do have to be really good with the brakes. And I was pleased when I went to the training centre and looked at the different training modules for this particular route itself. I thought the braking tutorial was quite good. I don't know if you've done that yet. Take a look at that. I thought the way the guy that they got to do the voiceover, he explained it very well, and it made a lot of sense. So again, I think TSW3 has gone a long way to bringing in new players, because lots of the questions that you've all been asking, how do you do this, how do you do that, a lot of it's covered actually. There's probably lots more room for improvement, but a lot of it's covered. Even Peanut's done his first PZB run now without being emergency braked, so that's good. Oh, is that right, Stace? Oh, right, I didn't realise that. Yeah, Peanut says, was afraid it wouldn't be the case for me. Old routes being boring now, and TSW3 is out, but it's okay. I'm just looking forward to going back to some of those old routes, especially when that 64 gig DLC problem is fixed for us on PlayStation, because I can finally have the full choice of routes and trains sat there waiting. And if I go into the quick drive and pick one of those services out, say under 30 minutes, I really don't know what I'm going to get, which is the good thing. They'll pick one for me across any route, so I'm quite looking forward to that fix coming in. I did see on the forums this morning that fix was about to come out, and then they found some other little problem with it. So it's been taken off the shelf again, just briefly, whilst they look at that. They don't want to release it in a broken state, so they're looking at it. But once that comes in, we're going to have a lot of fun with the old routes, and like I said last night, I did try Cornwall, and the 150 wasn't accelerating at the centre. It just wasn't accelerating at all. There's something wrong with that, and I know Dave's tried it this afternoon as well, and he thought the same thing. So that's another one I've reported, just to get DTG to check it. Copy says from Victorville to Barstow, it's up and down. Yeah, Victorville's in the centre, isn't it? I believe. Put that in notch 8. I don't know why I was in 7. Because we need all the power we can get. It was this afternoon, was it, Stace? I didn't realise that. Some old routes look better than others, mainly the lighting. But still fun. Yeah. Dave was saying, before the stream, Dave was saying that Peninsula Corridor looks very good. So, we recently did a Pen Corridor, didn't we, under TSW2, so we'll try that again. We'll maybe try that next week in TSW3, I think. Stace's question, what's the join button do? Oh, that is the new thing, if you wanted to become a member. But unfortunately it will cost you money. But you can join. You can join, you can be a member. We do different stuff for the members. We'll do some private streams, etc. and giveaways and bits and pieces like that. And you get to use special emotes in the chat and all that kind of thing. But there's no pressure. No, you don't have to join. There's no pressure at all. It's there on the page, but there's no pressure at all. It's not compulsory. Nothing will change. I've already got Mr. Water complaining about the adverts. No, I wouldn't take it when he's there, don't worry. Oh, let's pop back inside. Yeah, this sun is great. Even the shadows from my friend over here, you can see a head moving around there on the back wall. And the shadows. It'd be nice if these screens were working. You know, you've got to think, haven't you, that they're gonna fix these at some point. You would hope. It would be nice if you could get the map right there. I'm hoping at some point there'll just be a big project where they can fix these, like they did with the PAS. They can fix these across all the different locals that they've got, like the GSMR and things like that. In the UK trains, that'd be good. Kobe wasn't kidding when he said about the climb. That probably took too long to speed up. It's climbing though, it's just very slowly we're gaining a bit of speed. Bonsoir, SNCF, ça va? Yeah, I know you're messing this, yeah. If you weren't messing, I would fall out with you. Ça va bien, et tu? Bien, merci. Kobe says, it's normal trains never reach line speed on the climb. Yeah, I'm not surprised, and that's with what we got. We got 3 locos on, but, you know, it's so heavy, isn't it? The thing I like about these freight routes is, because, you know, I always say it, and I'm going to say it again, I like a long run, and I like the fact that they've got this open track in front of us. And I always think that when I'm watching the Dovetail streams before they release something, I'm always thinking, let me in it, let me go. And I always get that feeling with these routes. And what's this? Everyone's parked up. Are they actually moving? They are moving, aren't they? These guys are very slow. He's shifting. I mean, his wheels are stuck in the hot tarmac though. But he's moving. That's not O.J. Simpson, is it? Oh, look at that! Did you see that? Straight through the back of the green Jag. Oh, watch out! Straight for the bus. This guy is not stopping for it. Is he playing Autobahn? He's playing Autobahn, this guy. I almost want to follow him now the whole way, just to see what he does. His wheels have come out of the tarmac. Oh, he's taking off now, look, he's back to the future. There he goes. Right, we need to concentrate on what we're doing now. He's racing as well. That lighting's perfect. 80 miles, yeah, it's great, isn't it? And especially for SNCF, I'm going to create a scenario where I put the class 150 on this. Look, it's going through people again. Why is he even parked there? Watch this Red Bull. Bang! Straight through the pickup any minute. Smack! Something's wrong there. Something's definitely wrong with that, isn't it? Yeah. I'm going to try the 150 on this, just for SNCF. He always likes me to put the 150 on every route that I can. So that's what we're going to do. It would be criminal not to. I'm just fascinated with the lighting just now. I think this is a really good example of how good it is. Wow, look at that. Look at the clouds over the mountains. I mean, that's pretty neat. You're right, Kobe, you can make a sandwich. I'm just going to have a drink of coffee right this second. Be right back, putting the baby, that's not a baby, to bed. You mean your husband? I'm just pulling your leg. Clouds looks like an avalanche. I think that looks quite good, that SNCF, do you not think? There's definitely something wrong with this traffic though, isn't there? You could be right, actually, Dave. Yeah, I think so. I mean, the other thing to do as well is get the TGV on here as well. One of the high-speed trains. I know we'll be making up the power situation. It'll be completely off the rails, but you know, just to give some of those trains a good blast. Yeah, I don't know, you know, maybe I'm either unlucky or maybe I just noticed them a bit more. Do you know, I generally don't, I'm not as picky, I'm not as picky as some players, I've got to admit, that those cars are not working right, but if they never fix that, it wouldn't bother me. it's not stopping me driving the train. You know, I'd be more bothered about something like the Class 150 not accelerating properly anymore. But yeah, things like that. Like, you know, some players complain about a type of fence, and I think if you know that route, if it's your local route and it really annoys you, I can understand that. But for somebody who doesn't know the route, I don't really mind what a fence looks like, for example, or something like that. I don't really notice. It's like that mountain there. Can you see that mountain? It's only just forming up. Some people won't like that, but I'm only seeing that because I'm looking straight at it. If I'm just driving the train, I'm not really looking at that. The 150 and the steam engines need looking at as they lose power. I don't think I've driven a steam engine yet. They lose boiler pressure so quick, right? I will try. I'll try the new Spirit of Steam over the weekend. It's a bit late, isn't it? Oh no, you've given up on Twitter, haven't you? I'd forgotten about that. In fact, you know what? I was saying about that. Oh, let me just jump back out again. I was saying about that, actually, it could be to do with the weather, couldn't it? It looks as if the cloud is the thing that's obscuring the cliff, so maybe I spoke out of turn. That's why it looks a very sharp drop on that edge. It's to do with the cloud. Got a 40 miles per hour limit coming up, but I don't think we need to really bother about that because we're nowhere near that speed. Oh, it's on the forums, is it, Dave? About the steam engines. Yeah, I can understand that, Stacey. I don't blame you, to be honest. I've never had Facebook, never ever. Not even once, not even tried it. Oh, the rain's starting, look at that. Right, so this is one place that I do know where the wipers are. Do I need to turn them on though? Oh, that's the light. Wiper speed 44. Do I need to switch it on? One of these. Don't have to have both on, do you? Oh, there we go. I was probably pressing the wrong thing. Well, that's weird. I presume one of these is right and one of these is left. Now that one works, that one isn't. Strange. You should just get your keep your YouTube going, Stace, as well. If you're not doing Twitch. Oh, it's the back, is it? Ah, you're right. You're exactly right. See, I didn't know about that one. Right, got you. I'll turn that one off then, because we don't need that. There we go. Thank you, Dave, for that tip. Of course, we would need that if we were reversing. Thanks for coming in though, everybody, for the third one in a row. Thanks for the likes. Appreciate that. What time did we leave in game time? I think it was 17:36, wasn't it? So we'll be getting there about 7:30 if all goes to plan. Game time, that is. It's 3 minutes past 6. I'm just wondering how dark it might get, but it might actually still be light, because I think actually it's September, isn't it? It's actually the real... I think we left it at the current date, so it might just be dusk. So much detail on these, the way the bogies are just going up and down as the track moves. I'll turn that bell off though, there's only so much of that I can stand, to be honest. Traction problem there. Don't think that's going to do a lot anyway, is it? Not when we're moving at this speed. Might be lucky and it'll turn to snow. Did a run on this, started off in sunshine, it rained, turned to snow, and you had it set in September. Right, that'll be good. It was pretty nice when we set off. What did I set it to? Light clouds. It was light clouds. So that'll be good. It does do that. I don't think I've driven in the snow yet in TSW3, so that'd be quite nice to see. I'm actually itching to get back on Cajon Pass because I haven't played that since we streamed it the other night, and I really enjoyed doing that. Apart from the alarms, you know, I enjoyed the Ice One run that we did. And I put the rest of the German routes on today that were available for us in this week 1 DLC download for PlayStation as well. Which I think was Ryan, Rear Austin, Cole, Arkin. I think there was another one, I can't remember. So I'm going to dip into those on the weekend as well. Started snowing around Victorville, which is kind of like around here, is it? Is it that area there? Is that Victorville? I think. Is it a cement works, concrete works around this area? I think that's what it is, if I remember from the previews. Let's say I've not done any runs yet, not done any scenarios, so I'm not that familiar with this line yet. But it's pretty good so far. 51 miles still to go. Right, you were coming the other way then, Dave. Is one direction more hilly than the other? Because we've kind of hit the incline at this side right from the off, haven't we? Does it start off as steep from the Barstow end, or is it a bit more gradual at that side? Sky's even turning that kind of pink early evening sort of colour. Clouds have thickened up. You can almost believe there in the distance, with the way those hills that we passed are greyed out like that, you can almost believe that that's heavy rain there in the distance. The colour of the sky, we could even get lightning, I think. We'll see what happens. Downhill towards San Bernardino, 3 degrees. We're down towards Barstow, 1.8 max. Right, got you. And the summits around a bit of track where there's 3 different routes. Yeah, this area. And the lightning appears on the old routes now as well. That's pretty cool. Look at that. What's the significance of that? 66. Assuming that's legit. That's an actual thing. In real life, I mean. Yeah, going back to the lightning thing. I was playing a service on Oakville. You may have seen the video on the channel, it's an Oakville. But I was playing on Oakville way back, and it was the lightning was happening on there. This is years ago, and I remember sending the video to Matt at the time, and he said, "How did you make it do that?" And he said, "We've been playing with that lightning effect for some time, but we didn't really like it, so we left it out, but for some reason you found it, and he was just doing it. It was on a certain service on Oakville. At first I thought the game was playing up. I thought it was about to crash on me because it was flashing rather than what we get now with the you know, like the fork lightning that comes down. It was literally the screen was just flashing. But he said no, he said it's legit. It was the first attempt at lightning, and they thought they cut it out. It must have got left in, so it must have been coming for a while. They must have been working on it for a long time. It's let's say a couple of years ago now, that video. It's still on the channel. In fact, it was probably the last Oakville video that I ever did, because I haven't played Oakville very much at all, although I know it's had a substantial preservation update this week, so I've downloaded it again, so I'm going to dip into that like I'm doing with all of them. Yeah, you remember that, Dave. I think I told you about that service. I think you ran it as well to see it. Oh, the thunder sounds as well. On the Oakville one, no, there wasn't. It was just the flash. There was no audio. Yeah, just if you do a quick search on the channel, just I think lightning is in the title, just search for lightning, it'll come up. I think it's a short video, but it happens right at the beginning of the service when I'm in the yard on the side. Yeah, anybody know what this is? Anybody know what that 66 is? What that's all about? Not Route 66, is it? That's not Route 66, is it? Up here. My knowledge of US geography is not very good. The 66 there, Dale, on the hill. Stamped in the hill. Don't know what that is. Don't know what the significance of that is. Yeah, maybe it's because of the time of day that I'm running at, Dave. I saw it straight away at a distance, but I don't even know what that is. There'll be a story behind that. I'll have to find out what that is. Just looking where we are actually. If I go to the map and there's the summit. Oh, am I at the summit now? That's me, is it? So it must be something to do with the summit. So look into that. We'll try and find out what it's about. Oh, you're on an older route, Lightning, but no Thunder. I got you. I'll try a few different options this weekend, I think, across all the other routes, and just give things a bit of a test out. I'm interested to see what it looks like. These things get talked about, don't they, sort of weeks and months before, but they take a while to get released. So I'll go back and just have a double check at what I'm looking for, I think. Still got 50 to go. One thing I would like, that I've wanted for a long time, is the option to, rather than have the target distance at the top as the crow flies, I'd like the option to be able to change that to the actual track distance to where you need to be. But I can kind of understand the complexities of that. I bet that's a bit tricky to implement. So you think you're doing 50 miles, but then like Corby said, you're doing nearly 80 by the time you get there, because of all the twisting and turning. And there is a little bit of twisting and turning on this route. I think this first bit that we've done is probably about the straightest part of the whole route, to be honest. Oh, it's an Unreal Engine thing, is it? That's the limitation, got you. I'm also going to try that one, Dave, that you suggested. There was the old spreadsheet on the forum, wasn't there? People on the TSW2 had written down different runs that they've done, interested different services that they've run, and that was quite good. It was quite a good document that was on there. There's all suggestions like that would Dave. I ran a few of those, quite good. It's probably still there actually, but I don't know if they'll still be relevant now for TSW3. They'll all be TSW2 services. Let's pop back in. So it's got dark pretty quickly, hasn't it, with this cloud? There's me saying when we get to the other end it might just be dusk. It's actually quite dark right now. Let's see how we get on. The good thing is that these lights seem much more powerful now than in TSW2. Say on the map that this is the summit, so I'm still climbing. When is the bullet train, Dave? Is that one of the ones next week? Let me just bring up the list that I've got with the releases. What have we got next week, engine-wise? It's not next week, so it must be in the third week. Yeah, it is. Week commencing 20th of September is the Baby Bullet and the Switcher, actually, for Pen Corridor. We do get London Commuter back next week, which is quite nice on PlayStation, and the 313, which is an excellent bit of DLC, isn't it? The 313. It's brightening up again now. You just don't know what to expect, do you, with this? Let's turn that off for now. Because this section is quite dry. It sounds like a good run, that one, Dave. There's only 4 stops. Because Pen Corridor is quite a good route, isn't it? But I'm not as keen on the ones with all the station stops. Especially with the lap brakes on the F40. The Baby Bullet though is a nice DLC, isn't it? Always feels like you're in the cockpit of the space shuttle. Take a look at this coming around the curve. Oh, there's the moon. There's a nice shot. Wow, even the moon's been improved. The moon wasn't as clear as that, was it? And the starry skies. Yeah, I don't care what anybody says, it is a different game, isn't it? It's obviously got very close similarities, but it's a different game, definitely. Farah tonight, he must be off having his tea. Yeah, 2.0. It's different, isn't it? it's obviously very similar, but it's different. I know it sounds daft, but and the other thing about bringing out a new game that we as players obviously don't know is that by bringing out a new game, there could be some functionality they've enabled in the background for future routes that they've not announced yet that they couldn't do with the old game. There may have been some technical limitations with the old game that we don't get informed about. So by bringing out a new version, it may just further open it up in the future. It's like I said at the beginning, if you think of it, every summer there's always a big release, isn't there, with 3 routes. There has been every summer since it started. There's always 3 routes at a special price. And last year obviously was Rush Hour when we just added those to TSW2, wasn't a new game. And if you think about this, it's exactly the same thing. It's just a new game, and you're still porting everything across from that you bought already. So you've not lost anything. So it's got to be all good, hasn't it? I mean, I'm quite impressed with it. And if you think about how many hours you're going to sink into it for the price that you've paid, you get your value for money, don't you, all the time. And Peanut's learned PZB, so he's getting even more out of it. Hey Krazza, how you doing? And you want a long German route with lots of PZB and LZB. Yeah, see, the Castle Würzburg is in the ICE, it's mainly LZB, isn't it? If you go back now that you're learning it, go back and do Kolnarken and Munich Augsburg, because they've got big sections at the beginning of each end that start off as PZB, then the LZB switches in. So you do get to do a bit of both on those two at high speed. Obviously you've got all the commuter services as well on those, and they're all PZB. I don't know what you just said, Krazza, but it looks good. How am I finding Cajon Pass? So this is my first run on it. Quite enjoying it so far. I think these so far these American freight routes have built on one another each time they've released. There is definitely, some people say, oh, US freight, it's all the same, and you just get going and just leave it, you don't do anything. I think they definitely, each one that comes out, the next one that comes out after it, does that a little bit more, and looks at a little bit more detailed, and just has a little bit more about it. And this definitely is the best one so far. And I've only run half of it so far. So yeah, it's quite nice. Yeah, you've done some of those, have you, Peanut? That's good. That's good. Yeah, I understand that, Crosby. I think you're not on your own there. I think there's lots of people that probably don't touch them. It's just not their cup of tea, you know. I mean, I personally like to mix it up. Just depends what mood I'm in, really, or how much time I've got. They do take a long time. You need to invest a bit of time in running these services, but at the same time, it also depends what level of immersion you get into as well, doesn't it? You know, I'm running this big long train now, and you know, if you get into it to the point where you imagine you're doing a really important job, transporting all this freight, all these distances, helps with the immersion, doesn't it? And it makes it much more enjoyable. And the challenge getting to the other end, because like we said at the beginning, you know, it's a long route, and you actually think you've not got a lot to do. But if you need to use the brakes like Sandpatch, where you've got to use combinations of different brakes, that is actually quite challenging, not to get a runaway with this kind of weight coming down some of those hills. So, yeah, different type of challenge to something like a PZB and an LZB, but still a challenge either way, you know. But I get it that it's not your cup of tea. I personally hope we get a few more of the US, passenger routes, similar to like the Boston one and the old NEC one. You know, some longer passenger ones, not like the Long Island or Harlem, not those commuter type ones, actual longer routes. That'd be good. Something cross country that's passenger, you know, that'd be good. But I'm sure, like all these things, that they're thinking about it. Still got 47 to go. We've been running just less than an hour, I think. Oh, you also built a PC, did you, Krasa? It's a bit seat of the pants at times, isn't it? But it's good when it works. Peanut says, what I say, this route is easier than Horseshoe Curve. Horseshoe Curve is Horseshoe Curve's definitely a bit more challenging in one direction, isn't it? You're coming towards the Altoona end of Horseshoe, because there's a lot of downhill, so you've definitely got to be good on the brakes with that one. It's a bit like coming down to Cumberland on Sandpatch, to keep your wits about you as you're coming down the hill. So there's definitely a lot of challenge there on Horseshoe. I don't know yet whether it's any more difficult than this one, we'll have to see. Once we get to the other side of this hill, we'll see what it wants to do with us, see if it wants to make us run down at speed. That'll be the challenge. But Horseshoe's a really nice route, actually. I do enjoy Horseshoe. I think the other problem with some of these freight routes in the US is that to somebody that's, not familiar with US freight, and I'm guilty of this myself to some extent, is that a lot of these locals, excuse me, a lot of these locals seem the same. You know what I mean? I mean, how many times have we had a GP38 as well? And I know some players get tired of seeing that, but if that's what's in use, that's what's in use, isn't it? You can't really do a lot about that. Whereas in Germany, for example, there's so many different locals in use, isn't there? There seems to be the biggest variety for Germany. So I think that's something else that some players don't take to, with these US freight rates, but it is what it is. You can't, you can't change the law, of course, can you? Have you not played this one then, Peanut? You've not been on this one yet? Hi Mr. Water, how you doing? Has it took you all that time, Mr. Waters, to get through the adverts? Is that why you've only just joined us? It took you an hour and 2 minutes to get through the adverts. I know you love the adverts. I was mentioning that before. You've just been in it to check. Yeah, I got you. Yeah. I mean, this run that Dave recommended is I think 2 hours 2 minutes. This is the full run of the line, which I wanted to do. So I thought I might as well do this one on the stream, and then everybody can see it, just in case you've not run it yourself yet. But there are some of an hour, some just under an hour. It's seems to be quite a nice spread of services. Yeah, I'm just pulling your leg, Mr. Watson, yeah. The PZB hypnotised you. It doesn't take you long to learn it. You were only saying the other night you were going to try it, and then you've obviously been away and studied it a little bit. Did you suddenly realise with PZB that you are doing the same things over and over? Once you get into a pattern, especially if you're learning it just on one route, and you're sticking to one route to begin with. In my little notebook that I mentioned the other night, where I write down the tips and tricks about power systems, the way braking works, etc., for different locos, I've actually got a little table stuck on the inside cover with all the PZB speeds in, depending on what mode your PZB is on. They've got different speeds, obviously, because if you've been learning it in mode O, which is the passenger one, which displays the 85 in the bottom right corner, depending on how your braking is, or if you're doing freight, you've also got PZB mode M and mode U, and they all have different sets of speeds with them, so that can be tricky. So once you've learned the passenger, then you can go on to the freight. If you've got fast freight, you might find that the fast freight is in mode O, so you're okay, and it applies to both. But yeah, just find yourself a little table with the speeds and just keep referring to that. Just keep pausing the game and referring to that, and you'll get it. Yeah, it's gone quite dark, hasn't it? Just looking at the stream, it looks slightly darker on the stream than it does on my screen in front of me, to be honest. Although on my Mac, I have got the brightness turned down on the Mac where I'm watching it, so... I honestly thought it would be a bit lighter than this. There's a little table, Peanut. I think I've got it somewhere. I'll ping it you on Twitter or Discord. It's just a little sort of pocket guide with the speeds on. I'll try and find it. Right, we must be at the top now because the gradient's got to 0.6. Welcome back, Stace. Yeah, we started off, Mr. Water, actually, it was game time, well, it's about an hour ago, 17:36, the service left, and it was kind of sunset-ish, but it has gone quite dark. If you look, the sky actually is quite nice. These stars, they've definitely done a lot with the sky, even at night. The sky's quite bright, actually. It seems brighter outside than it does when you're inside. Put a bit more speed in. Yeah, you're right, Peanut. I mean, it's a simulator after all, isn't it? So, you know, I don't feel bad either when I take notes. If it helps you learn something. You'll find, though, that you start using your notes less and less the more that you do it. Right, we're starting to go downhill, so the back of the train's probably still coming uphill. Let's make sure we don't get a runaway. Let's check the map and see where we are. So we're still down this end. We've got all this way to go. So we've just gone through the section that Dave talked about. The 3 lines converging. Hey Tubbs, how you doing? Nice to see you. Hope you're keeping well. Actually slowing down a fair bit, aren't I? The train's probably longer than I think. How long is the train? Of course it's in feet, isn't it? 5,000 feet. What's that in our money? It's long anyway, isn't it? Yeah, for that, Peanut, you'd have to create your own, wouldn't you? You'd have to create your own in the scenario plan. All the timetable services are all at night, as you said. Right, we're speeding up now. So the back of the train's obviously cleared the hill. Let's take the power out. Get the automatic brake ready, because according to the tutorial, dynamic brake is good for 30 miles per hour and under. So we'll stick to that guy's advice. Nice Tubbs, good to see you. I think you've been playing it a bit as well, haven't you, Tubbs? Is it? How are you finding it? It's like we got the rain again, but it's not really hitting the windscreen, is it? Now I can't find the light. Is it that one? automatic brake in minimum, like the wipers are up here somewhere. I had one, but I think that was the one from the back. What's this one? There we go. Let's see if we can hold this speed at 1.6 now. Down gradient. Learning PZB is one thing, but the scenario planner, yeah. I think it depends with the scenario planner, just how technical you get with it. There's a lot of people done really good things with the scenario planner, lots and lots of traffic. It absolutely, you know, that and the livery design are actually some of the stuff that people do kind of blows my mind, really. When I create a scenario, it's generally just me on the track as to you know, what it is I want to actually do. But yeah, give it a go. See how you get on. Again, once you've done a couple, it kind of makes sense. Dave wants me to put the dynamics on. I'm going to leave it on this automatic brake for now. If I start speeding up, I'll switch it. It seems to be holding us around this speed. Actually, we're losing speed slightly. I'll see how we get on with this. Oh, Tubbs, you bought Cornwall this morning. I actually really quite like that. I actually really quite like the Cornwall route, but I was saying earlier in the stream that I think that the Class 150 might not be running right just at the moment. It seems to be acting a bit strangely after St. Earth. There's a 45 miles per hour limit if you're going in the St. Austell direction. Once you get past that, it asks you to speed up to 60, and for me it wasn't accelerating like it used to in the TSW2 version, so we'll see. See who else reports it. But yeah, West Cornwall, it's very good, I think. And it's also got some trophies now, hasn't it? It didn't have trophies in the... is that lightning? We've got lightning, haven't we? It's got really grim now. I don't know how good that's coming across on the stream, actually. It might be a bit dark, but let me get out of the way. There you go. That's pretty neat, isn't it? That is pretty neat. Let's see if it does it again. There it goes. You've got to hand it to him, haven't you? It's pretty impressive, that. Wow. How you doing, Black Arrow? Good to see you. Oh wow, look at that. Those houses there nearly got out there, didn't they? I can see an aerial there in the dark. He doesn't want it to hit that. Whoa. It's pretty good, isn't it? So you were right, Dave, at the beginning. We've not had the snow yet, but we've had a bit of everything else on this run. I'm going to take that automatic brake off for a little bit. We'll switch to the dynamic, shall we? Let's put it in setup so we can get it ready. Let's see how we get on. The automatic was hold. Oh wow, that was right in front of us. Oh, that hit the track, didn't it? We're going to have to capture that one. I'm going to have to go back and snapshot that one. Well, what happens anyway? What happens with that? If it hits the rails, I'm assuming it grounds itself. It's not going to cause a problem. I don't know. But yeah, sorry it's so dark. I didn't plan on it getting this dark, I must admit. But the weather, as well as it being dark, the weather has actually got very closed in, hasn't it, as well? You can see the cars down there on the road. Right, let's try a bit of dynamic brake. Scary driving an electric train with lightning, yeah. Black Arrow says it would be cool if you could pause time and look closer to a lightning strike. Yeah, actually, you know, that's a good idea, isn't it? Like on Flight Simulator and a few other games, you can kind of pause it, can't you? And you can zoom around and get different views. Get some good screenshots, I think, tonight with this. It's pretty impressive. I know I keep saying it, but it's pretty impressive. And it's coming down right close to the track as well, isn't it? Look at that. We've got some houses here. They won't know the difference. They won't know if it's one of these trains coming past or if it's actual the hook wheel of the thunder. I can't hear any thunder through the headphones because of the sound of the train. Hey, random player, how are you? Nice to see you in. But if you want to, if you want to showcase something in TSW3, even though it's very dark just now, this is a good thing to show, isn't it? The light. Small spoilers breaking. About being downhill is that we can actually keep up with near enough to the speed limit, can't we? So these last 38 miles should go a bit faster. Mr. Water says now you've got a gaming PC, will you do any Microsoft Flight Simulator? It depends. I'd like to, but it just depends, Mr. Water, because as you know, it's my son's PC, and when he gets it from college and he sits on it all night, it's difficult to even speak to him. He's sat there mesmerised, So I might try to. He's got it on his. He's actually got Flight Simulator on his Series X. And I kept wondering about having a go on there, on the Series X, and trying to stream that. I just need to borrow his Series X and plug it in, and stream from that, so that might be an idea. So even if I don't use the PC, I could probably use the Series X. I'd have to get used to the big fat clunky Xbox controller. Sorry to all you Xbox players out there. Every time I touch the Xbox controller, I think, yuck, don't like it. This PlayStation one actually fits in your hands quite nice. I mean, it's like anything else that you get used to it, wouldn't you, after a while? telling you actually that the Xbox controller has been the same design since the very first Xbox. Which, if that is the case, you can understand why I think it's a bit clunky. Yeah, the DualSense is very nice. It does. It's heavy, but it just fits. Certainly for me, it fits my hands just right. Right, we've got a 50 coming up. So notch 8 is the highest we can go dynamic brake, so we may need a bit of the automatic brake coming up. Peanut likes the Xbox controller, it's got big hands. Yeah, I think it's just what you used to. I would probably like the Xbox controller if it was an Xbox player. I have owned an Xbox. I had the very first Xbox. I don't think it had a name. I think it was just Xbox. They've all got names now, like the Series X, Xbox One, Series S. That one it didn't have any internet capability. I think it was a similar time to the PS1, PS2. And I did have an Xbox then, big sort of square, quite heavy thing. So I did play Xbox for a while, but I've always had PlayStations. Some of those Pro controllers for the Xbox look quite nice. Those kind of 200 quid controllers. Right, we're coming to a 45 as well. I'll just keep this brake at notch 8. It's coming down slowly, so we could be okay. I'm fascinated with this storm. I mean, storms are fascinating anyway, aren't they? In real life, but to have it doing what it's doing in the game is pretty neat. Wow, look at that, straight in front of us. Stay says get used to it. You're a PS girl for when you use the Xbox control. Yeah, it does. I guess because generally it's Windows, isn't it? So you have to use an Xbox controller. I was going to say, does a PlayStation controller actually work? Not sure. Probably Microsoft cornering the market as per. Black Arrow says, cool, you can hear the raindrops on the roof of the train. It is quite neat, isn't it? It's very relaxing as well. So you would think with 33 miles to go, we'd probably come out the other side of the storm and get some other kind of weather. I mean, you wouldn't be so happy if you're on that school bus, would you? Well, especially given it's nearly 7 o'clock at night, you'd want to be home having the tea, wouldn't you, that time? You don't want to be coming home from school in a storm at 7 o'clock. Oh, you got a PS4 controller that's actually got a switch for PC. That's interesting. Let's get some more dynamic in. So you can bring it back down again. But it's true. If you don't keep your eye on the braking, it will quite quickly try and run away with things. Black Arrow says, for TSW1, did I earn 600 levels? I did. It was a bit more than that, actually. I don't know if Dave is still in the chat, but Dave actually got a higher level than I did. I think I was around 650 with the first TSW. And then needed to restart again. Oh, Dave's there. Yes. What rank did you get to, Dave, in the first TSW? Can you remember? I think you were also 600, maybe more than 600. I can't remember. So then moved to the PS5 version last year, and I think before that in TSW2 I was nearly 400 in TSW2. I moved to the PS5 version, and of course I had to start again in August last year. So I was quite pleased actually this time around that we were able to transfer the progress again, because as a TSW player, I'm obviously around the sort of 1500, 1600, 1700 level if you add them all together. But you know, when you can't show that in the profile, it seems a bit daft, doesn't it? So I was kind of glad when my rank 250 in this one came across into TSW3. Plus the fact you didn't have to do all the tutorials, you just kept the record about the tutorials, but that's quite nice. And all the collectibles and things like that. But yeah, I did, when it first came out, I played it a lot. I played it a lot more than I played anything else. And that's probably why. Yeah, the lighting is awesome, yeah, it's pretty good. I was sorry really that the service went into darkness when you're all trying to watch it on a stream, because I know it's not perfect in a stream, but actually in some ways now the weather has changed to what it is. It's actually quite a showcase, isn't it, for the weather system? So it's quite good. You got to around 700, Dave. Yeah, I knew you were much higher than I was. Pino, you feel like a noob. And you had 2020. Yeah, 2020 was the first one. Still got the disc downstairs on the shelf actually. Everything since then I've obviously bought digital. Let's have a little bit less dynamic range, I think. One thing I did notice is that on this particular loco, when you've got the dynamic brake on, if you then put the automatic brake on, the dynamic brake stays, and I think on some of the locals, I think, I want to say on Sandpatch, I might be wrong, if you put the automatic brake on and try to mix it with the dynamic brake, it takes the dynamic brake off. I think I've got that the right way around. But in this one, it's they're working side by side, which is quite nice. I think it also mentions that in the tutorial as well for braking. This has been a big old storm though. This has lasted for the last, what, half hour? Got a 35 coming up, which we should make quite easily. I can hear the thunder now. So when you come away from the engine, you can hear the thunder. Right, there's the 35. Victorville, this area, that's what we said earlier. So we'll be going through past this depot. Then on to the top. Turn the dynamic brake off. The back of the train, you always got to remember the back of the train is still coming down the hill. So it can push you quite quick. Look at the speed coming right up now. We put that back in setup. So whilst you can see the gradient there isn't very great, you just remember how long the train is. There is some clear sky poking through. Something like in front of us. It is braking slightly. Definitely clearer. Yeah, Victorville. Yeah, looks good, doesn't it? When you come up, in the dark, when you come up against the lights of a industrial area, out of all that dark and gloom that we just drove through. That's quite nice. The crossing belts are working as well. Black Arrow says, are you going to try out Train Life September 22nd on PS5? Certainly am. Certainly am. Yeah, it's actually, September's going to be big for train games, isn't it? Because this one's got lots and lots of playability in it, and then Train Life will be coming out, so we'll definitely do that. Because obviously some of the other games we've been playing have fallen by the wayside. I'm talking about Autobahn. Tourist Bus I'm still playing, but not as often. I think it's gone so quiet that a lot of interest in the community's sort of waned on Tourist Bus. But Construction Sim, as you mentioned, that's coming out. We've got that police game coming out early November, which is good. Looking forward to that one. Yeah, there's various other bits and pieces as well. So. Will I be doing any this weekend? Possibly. Yeah, possibly. I haven't quite decided yet, but possibly. I'm going to be playing anyway. I'm going to be playing this. I think I'm going to, because I've done the streams, but apart from doing the streams, I've not had much chance yet to actually explore around very much. So I'm definitely going to be playing something. The good thing about Train Life is that it's going to allow us to do contracts similar to On the Road for trucks. If you think of it as a train version of On the Road, I think that's probably the closest I could, the closest sort of comparison I could make to it. So I'm quite looking forward to it. I've watched quite a bit of the PC footage just recently, especially since the full release came out on PC, because it's been in early access for a year, hasn't it? But like we were saying the other night, it's not a competitor to this. It's a completely different game. So just keep that in mind and treat it as such. I've seen some players on the forums, saying, "Oh, this is going to be good. Train Sim World's got a competitor." It's not. It's not. It's a different game. This is a simulator, whereas the other one's more of it's kind of a management game, isn't it? Really. Correct, Peanut. Yeah, that's a good analogy. Yeah. Let's turn that dynamic brake off completely. Thanks again, everyone, for being in tonight. We've been streaming 98 minutes. Thanks for the likes, I appreciate that. It's been good fun this week, getting into Train Sim World 3. Right, let's get the dynamic brake ready. Traffic at this end of the route, and I'm assuming that's because they're all going to the Victorville depot there. Yeah, very big visual improvements, Black Arrow. Yeah, I agree. Yes, it's a big map. Yeah, the whole of Europe, and you can even come to London as well. I noticed. I don't know what the scale is of the map, and obviously, you don't get the same kind of trackside detail as you do in Train Sim World, but just watching it on PC in its own right, it's a really nice game, I think. And I'd say the other thing I like as well, watching it on PC, I like the UI. The choice of, if you've seen it, there's like several shades of blue, similar to what we've got on the screens in front of us in this train. And I actually quite like it because the UI is very important, isn't it? I think as Train Sim World has found out with the way they've changed the TSW3 UI. It's a sort of important first impression, isn't it? And I'm watching it and I'm thinking it looks very sharp, but the colours go very well in the UI. And it's a simple thing, but it makes a difference to me that. And it's another game I just want to, when I see someone streaming it, I just want to jump in and have a go at it. But we've not got long to wait, because what is it, the 8th of September, and as you say, it's 22nd it's coming out. So we've only got a couple of weeks. And as Mr. Water says, the Ice 3 is in there. If you look inside it, it looks the same. It's a bit dumbed down compared to the TSW3 version. You can't click all the levers like you can in the TSW3, which is why I said it's not a competitor for this game at all. It's meant to be a different experience. But yeah, the Ice 3 is in it. There's lots of trains in there. There's one that I think you start with, and it's almost identical to the G6 shunter that we've got in TSW. But it isn't called a G6, so they've obviously just modelled it on that. So I don't know, apart from the Ice 3, I don't know if the other trains that are in it are actual real ones. Not sure. But yeah, looking forward to it, is the short answer. What would I like to do in the next stream? I don't know, actually. Not sure. I'm going to have to have a think about that, I think. Let's pick some speed up. Black Arrow says all the buttons and controls in TSW 2 and 3 are impressive. Yeah, a lot of the buttons are just clickable, aren't they? They don't do anything. But saying that, you press the aircon button, it'd be very difficult, wouldn't it, to make the aircon work? Almost out of all plane. But yeah, and the good thing is you can do it with a keyboard or the controller, or you can make everything work by pressing the buttons and levers on the desk of the train as well. So you've got different options. I try to play with the controller as much as possible. As I was explaining the other night with the PZB, using the square button and the D-pad left and right. But for the longest time, when I first started playing TSW, I was doing this, and I was pressing buttons on the desk, etc. Depends how you want to do it. There's a few options. So the sky is starting to clear up quite nicely. Clouds breaking. Let's get the dynamic brake ready as we are picking up speed. It's flat at the moment, but the back of the train's coming down the hill. Yeah, train life's more like train sim because you can't walk around like you can in TSW, that's correct, yeah. You turn on the heaters and the air conditioning. Do they not counteract each other though? Buzz up in if you put the heater on and then the air conditions the heater. How does it feel when you're sat there and you've got both those switched on? Is there a cabin dashboard light? There's a desk light. Actually, it's a good point. That I don't know. I don't know if there is. I don't know if anybody in the chat knows. I don't know if there's a desk light for this. It could be down underneath somewhere. The gauge lights are on. The gauge lights are over here. Oops. There we are. The gauge lights are there. Window heater. That's one for Puzzle Peanut. I don't think there's a desk light, unless it's on the back. It could be on the back wall. Not sure. Not sure. It's a good question. One thing you can do, of course, on here is you can dim these, obviously, if these are too bright. Doesn't seem to do much though, does it? More options, dimmer. That's not a dimmer. Where's the dimmer? F2. It's dimming slightly, isn't it? Oh, there you go. That's dimming. So they're down to 15%, so they're not as bright in your face. The rain's picked up again. And the hot plate Yeah, when was the hot plate first introduced? Was that the Class 20 for Tees Valley? There's a hot plate on there, which is fully switchable on and off. Yeah. Right, let's check the map. We've got too far to go. It says 25 miles, but obviously a little bit more in this vehicle, actually, if you can inside. There are quite a few services as well for this route, so there's plenty to do. They're going to take you a while to do them, given the length. As I said earlier, there's not a lot under an hour. Generally, about an hour is the sort of shortest route you're going to get. The shortest timetable, I should say. The stream doesn't do it as much justice as what I can see. So definitely go and try a few of these. The lightning's back again. So we come out of one store into another. Let's just take a look at that. Seems to randomly, the lightning seems to be random in lots of different places as well. That's pretty impressive. Too bad you can't put a cup of coffee or tea on the desk. That would really finish it for me. Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, Black Arrow, I was wondering this the other night, what would happen if the train got struck by lightning. There must be some kind of, they must have some kind of earthing built in, because especially on routes like this, if you're in the middle of nowhere, it's going to go for you, isn't it? If I was driving this in real life now and this lightning's getting as near as it is to where I'm sat, that one's just hit the solar panels. I don't know if you can see it in the darkness, but there's a solar farm right there. Taking out the solar farm. But yeah, if I was sat in here now and it was going off all around, it'd be a bit unnerving, wouldn't it? I think. 23 to go. Lightning will strike the ocean water and put a fish nearby. Yeah, how far does... I was going to say if it hits the water, because water conducts electricity, doesn't it? So I was going to say how far does it spread, but I suppose when it hits, it'll sort of dissipate, won't it, as it gets bigger, as it hits the water and spreads. But yeah. So that's another thing as well, being in a storm at sea with this kind of lightning crashing down. I mean, that's got to be scary. I mean, you've nowhere to hide there, haven't you? I'm going to take one notch of this dynamic breakout just to speed us up slightly. I like a giant electric eel, yeah. That's a shower for you. Trying to get into the best position around the train for you to be able to see as much as you can on the street with it being so dark. We'll just stay here for a while. But this has been quite a good run. I don't know what you guys think, but it's been quite enjoyable. We've had a chance to see a lot of the new stuff actually that's been put into TSW3 with this, as well as the lighting, just the general skies themselves. We started off with that reddish sky. We had the kind of long shadows that you get when the sun's about to drop, and we moved out of that. We had a bit of rain and cloud. We had the cloud over the hills at the beginning, and we've seen a right mix as we've gone along this one. So maybe give this service a go yourself if you're looking to do one. I always, with any route, I like to do an end-to-end run, the very first thing that I do, just to give myself a good view. Okay, we're not getting a great view of it now because of how dark it's gone, but just, to get the feel of the length of the route, because it's alright, someone saying, in the streams it's 80 odd miles, but a bit different when you drive it, and, as part of the immersion, you really feel how long it is, and all these freight runs should be long ones, shouldn't they? That's what they're about. So I always try to do a long run, and from then on, start exploring around with the shorter ones and the switching ones for the freight stuff. But yeah, it's a good one. Try this one out. Add it to your list, Peanut. Yeah. I keep meaning to make a list of stuff I want to do myself. I've only gone as far as saying, this week these 3 streams to show off the 3 routes. Next week I'm going to have to think about what it is I want to do. I've not thought about it too much yet, but I will make a list. Because the DLCs are being staggered on PlayStation, I should probably run something from each week's DLC over these next few weeks. So Peninsula Corridor, as Dave suggested, that could be one for early next week. But I'm conscious of the fact we only ran Peninsula Corridor for a week. So I'll have a look what else was in the list and see what there is we haven't done. Rhine-Ruhr Osten is on the list. And I don't think I've run Rhine-Ruhr Osten live at any point, so that could be an idea, and you'll like that, Peanut, because that'll be PZB. So you'll get to see what I mean about PZB on those commuter routes are a little bit more difficult because of the stop-start and speed changes, etc. So I could try that. I'll have a look at the list anyway. Pick something out from week 1, as I'm calling it. Yeah, lightning's a very strange phenomenon, isn't it? It's fascinating, but it's, you know, it's obviously very dangerous as well. They've captured it very well in this game. I guess that's the trick, isn't it, with games like this? You obviously need to know a lot about trains. That's the fundamental thing that you're doing. But really, you know, you have to have an appreciation of the environment as well, what's going on, and the different changes in weather. So, you know, a lot of work has gone into this. And again, I keep going back to the fact that some players have said, oh, it's just TSW2 with a little patch on top. It's not strictly true. Not in my opinion, and that's just my opinion, of course. There's a bit more to it than that. But opinions are just that, so their opinion's just as much valid as mine is, so let's not forget that. You pays your money, as they say. No Man's Sky storms a bit too often in that game on the Endless Planets. Yeah, I haven't played No Man's Sky for a long time. With No Man's Sky, right at the beginning I pre-ordered that and I just wanted to get to the centre of the universe, and then they changed it and it became very Minecrafty. You had to craft different items and I lost interest after that. That did it for me, unfortunately. I did try it again a year or so ago and I didn't get into it at all. Which was a shame really, because I highly anticipated the release of that one for a long time. Peanut, you were sceptical about TSW3, but the more you play it, the more you like it. Exactly, yeah, I remember you saying that you wanted to be convinced. And if you remember, I said to you, you know, once you've seen it a little bit, you'll change your mind, you'll probably like it. Here we are. Right, 17 miles to go. I'm going to let a bit more speed come in. We've got 12 watching right now, so thanks for that. If you are watching and you haven't given me a thumbs up yet, please do that. That will help me out a lot. I'm trying to get as many people in as I can over the next couple of months. 2 hours streaming is up. Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, so we should have finished by now. It did say it was a 2-hour service, but I think keeping under the... I assume the 2 hours is assuming that you are doing the speed limit the whole time, which we're not rushing. Plus, the recommendation as well, isn't it, on these routes is to keep under the speed limit in case you need a buffer, in case the train runs away with itself. You don't want to be running at the speed limit in case you get into trouble. A bit different when you're going uphill, but you still have to be careful. The main thing is to enjoy it, I think. We're not going to get fired by the boss if we're late. Wow, that one just hit the track then. Do you see that? That's good. In the dark, if you press the horn, the bell light actually comes on. Oh, the 2 hours is also in a straight line as the crow flies. I've got you. Yeah, that would make sense as well. I didn't consider that. I don't think I've ever considered that. because obviously, like we talked about at the beginning, I knew the mileage was as the crow flies, but I wasn't sure about the time. That's interesting. Didn't occur to me. How long ago did I play No Man's Sky? A lot has been added since release. When the PS5 upgrade came out, I went back to it briefly, but I didn't get into it. So it wasn't that long ago, really, I don't think. But that was another game right at the start when that came out. I absolutely hammered it. You used to be able to pick up Vanium to make rocket fuel. That was it. And then they changed it. We had to get Vanium plus something else to make rocket fuel. And it was too much Minecraft and messing about, and I gave up, to be honest. I just didn't fancy it anymore. It was too much like hard work for me. Like buying a freighter and things like that. Yes, yeah, SnowRunner went a bit like that. As you know, I plan to do SnowRunner again on the channel, and I started playing it a bit. And to be perfectly honest with you, I just didn't. I'd had a break from it, and I'd gone back to this PS5 version. I didn't quite get back to where I was with it. I think I took too long of a break, although it's still a very good game. It's a shame, really. Hours, probably not yet. It's a lot of time, isn't it? Creative mode's got 0 craft. That's good. Talking about the lighting, but when it does lighten up, it does actually illuminate the side of the train as well, which is really neat. The whole area does get lit up. How many hours did it take to complete the whole custom PC computer that you made? To actually build it, once the parts were there on the desk, it doesn't take that long at all. You could probably do it. I did it over several days because it was when the heat wave was on the other week, and it was absolutely burning hot in the house. I kept doing little bits and then leaving it until the day after. You could actually, me, with my level of experience, I could probably put it together in 3 or 4 hours, I would say. Not including installing the software, just actually putting the physical parts together. The biggest thing about it, as I said in that video, if you watched that video, was the research you've got to do to find out which parts fit with which, and any compatibility issues and things like that. That's the most difficult thing, and that kind of went on a long time before I could finally decide what it is we were buying, because there's a lot of money involved as well, you see. So you have to make sure that you make the right decisions. But yeah, the build itself, just a few hours. Oh, that fan was terrible. If you've got 2 people there, it's a bit much more straightforward. But it's just difficult to hold it in place whilst you screw it in. whilst making sure that the pump head didn't get damaged, the thermal paste for the CPU didn't get damaged. That was the other thing. But I got there in the end. It's frustrating. That must have took me 45 minutes to an hour just to do that whole piece. I should have called for some assistance really. Yeah. But you know, doing it's quite rewarding though. It's one of those little projects you do. It turned out alright in the end. It's quite a good spec PC to be honest. So it should last him quite a while before he needs to change it. That's the main thing. Well, let's hop back in. 54 miles per hour, 10 miles to go to Barstow. Looking good so far. Did I use the PC Builder Simulator experience? Well, I'm not going to lie, it definitely comes in handy. Do you know the new update for PC Building Sim actually has got the most up-to-date kit in there now. So all those new graphics cards, etc., they're all in there. So all the kit that I used, apart from the case, I think all the kit that I used in the real build is actually in the PC Building Sim. You know, because it's more in line with what the PC players have had for a while. The console version is always a little bit behind, but yeah, everything's in there. So if you do a free build in there, I can build one with pretty much the same components, which is good. So I know you were joking, you didn't expect that answer, but yeah, it does come in handy actually. It's a little bit easier in PC Building Sim because you just press one button, you hold one button down, and it unscrews all the screws out of the case. That takes a little bit longer. Plus, you don't have to do the nightmare cabling as well in PC Building Sim, which is the other time-consuming part. But yeah, it definitely helped a little bit. 9.2 to go. Just the rumble of thunder there as well. I think the other thing, just outside of Train Sim World, the other thing I want to do as well is do another stream on fishing North Atlantic. I've been playing that offline again a little bit as well. Been catching tuna in the last couple of weeks, which has been quite good. So I might run a quick fishing North Atlantic over the next couple of weeks. Just mix it up a bit. Keep the simulator theme going. TSW would help you start and drive a real life train? I think it probably would. Like we were saying earlier, all the buttons and switches are the same in each cab. I guess the only peculiarities you would get are anything you need to do with any kind of fuel mix or that kind of thing. And then of course, when you're actually driving it, you've then got the real life physics which you don't get in TSW. You don't feel the weight as such in TSW, do you, when you're driving it? There's no feedback, which you would get if you were driving a real train. But I think you could certainly get it going. Videos on YouTube, real drivers playing TSW. Yeah, that's right, yeah. I think in the Ambassador's Dad Rail drives a 66, doesn't he? He's another ambassador. He drives a 66 in real life. there's a friend of mine, he comes in the streams occasionally, Briar, he's a 66 driver, he plays TSW. He actually says the TSW 66 doesn't drive like a real one. It's close, but it's not exactly right. The braking, for example, seems different in TSW compared to the real one. It's interesting that I'd like DTG could do a series on that, couldn't it? You know, taking some players out and seeing if they can start a real train up, you know, that appears in the game. It'd be quite a good little series, that would be quite amusing. Yeah, as you say, Kobe, the physics are far from accurate. Very difficult, isn't it, to replicate them, I guess, in a game. Still a bit murky, isn't it, en route at 6 miles from Barstow. As they would say in Lancashire, it's black or Will's mother's. Which roughly translates into anybody not from Lancashire is that it's quite dark over there. Yeah, it's pretty grim, Kobe, isn't it? I mean, we're only, well, yeah, just over 5 miles as the crow flies. You would think you would see some kind of civilization quite soon, because if you look on the map, we should pretty much see something. Dad Rail did a video on the 66, like the game of doing faults and learning the computers. I think having a real driver's perspective on some of these locals is very useful, isn't it? Because we can all drive these, but we don't quite know whether it's you know, how true to life it is. But when you get that real perspective, that's the good reason. It's a good reason they use real drivers input when they're building these routes and locals. It's good that they do that. Put a bit of power back in. I think the real driver of this train actually, if they're experienced, they wouldn't give a second thought to this weather, would they? They're probably so experienced that it's just normal for them. When you're travelling this kind of distance, you know, I don't know what altitude the summit is. I don't know how high up this route actually is, but with all those mountains that we saw surrounding it at the beginning, I imagine we're pretty high up. So you're probably going to get, you know, going this distance, you're probably going to get some changes in weather, aren't you, quite frequently. So I guess the drivers of this route have seen it all. But now if you look through that windscreen there, I mean, even the lights, the signals are difficult to see. It's definitely getting worse as we're coming into Barstow. Train life will have roadblocks like snow, fallen trees and stuff. Yeah, it's good drove diesels, that's right, Dave, you did, yeah. I remember you telling me you drove the 08 and 09 and 33. I remember those three in particular. Right, we've got a 30 coming up, so I should really put the brakes on. Yeah, that's right, Peanut. Yeah, it's because I'm looking. It's because I'm looking at the chat. I'm not paying attention, and we got a 1% downhill. Wouldn't you know it? Let's get some of this in as well while we're at it. I'm hoping we don't spaz. No, it's not a red right after this. How you doing, Lucas? No, it's no problem, don't worry. It's been a long stream, it's over 2 hours now, so... This is the main bit though, we're coming into to Barstow. I'm going to put a bit more automatic braking to get us down. I don't want to risk anything after coming this far. Doing good, Lucas, thanks, yeah. Pretty good. Oh, it's very grim at this end, isn't it? Because what I should have done is changed it from feet to yards, then I can actually tell how far I am away from the red. I think I'd rather come to a complete stop and then edge forward, if I'm honest. Down to 13, we're good. I think we're good. Yeah, watch the red. Dave says a spad coming up. If we get near there, I'm going to throw the anchor out of the window. There's the dynamic brakes kicking in. I'll take those off actually. Black Arrow, you went for a red and lost all progress on a very long run one time. Yeah, I mean it happens to all of us, doesn't it? Unfortunately, but I think now as well, right now at the moment, there isn't the save function, so you can't even take a checkpoint. So we're completely at the mercy of the red lights right now. I mean, this might be a long 5,000 feet, but that's that. You know, like Matt was saying, the save function's been a bit hit and miss, hasn't it? Depending on what's going on in the route and how many different bits and pieces it has to save, and where the traffic is on the route, and having to recreate that when you launch the save again. So it's good. I mean, everyone's not pleased they took it out, but it's better if it works perfectly, isn't it, once they bring it back in. So it's worth doing it. Because, I mean, you could save right now and reload it, and it still might not work. So... you can hear thunder rumbling. What a great run though, what an interesting run. Yeah, it really has been an interesting run. it feels like we've been on a proper journey. We've been through all sorts of weather, and that's down to this new system. Uphill, downhill. Seen a Mystery 66 burnt into the heather on the hill there, which we need to find out what that is. Yeah, it's been a really good run. So thanks everybody for coming in. Looks as if we've got just under 1,000 feet between the objective and the red, so we've got a slight buffer. Yeah, that about the objectives and the signals. Matt was saying, wasn't he, that usually a freight driver will stop way before the red light. But you know, in the case of TSW, you've got to hit the objective marker to move it on. So it's a bit more difficult for us. You know, real drivers don't have an objective marker. They can stop short as long as they can see the signal. I love that whoop noise it makes when you release the brakes. $2,700 feet. So it's very slow trickling, but I think, you know, you're right, as we we're just saying, to avoid the spad with a train this heavy, you've got to crawl in, haven't you, in most cases. The cautious approach is much better than the last minute emergency brakes. Best Scoob, how you doing? Especially when you got those lightning bolts coming down right in front of you between the forefront there. We've come this far, we don't want to screw it up now. Well, I definitely don't. Not when I'm live. Yeah, it's pitch black, isn't it, Dave? It's right now with this storm going on. It's darker than we would normally expect. You know, earlier on, it was dark, but we had a starlit sky, and it was quite nice. And the storm has really brought the weather in. Let's just do this outside cab view. 11 miles per hour, very slight downhill gradient. 1,800 feet to the red. Let's put a bit of minimum in, get that working. It is quite dark. Should this not be floodlit? Should this yard not be floodlit? I don't know. I think UK yards are all floodlit, aren't they, generally? Yeah, Pepescu is like Thriller, isn't it? Like Thriller night. We'll have Michael Jackson come in singing any minute. Right, we're looking good, 4.1 miles per hour. The thunder is rumbling away in the background. The driver's wife has got his tea on. He needs to be back for Coronation Street. The good thing is that this yard is fairly flat, so most, if not all, of the train is on the flat, so it's not pushing us very much. We're accelerating a little bit, but nothing major. Yeah, you're not going to see anybody walking around, are you, on the track? If there's anybody in front of you, they've had it, basically. Right, let's put this final bit of brakes in. There's the troublesome lights. Look at the glow around the lights as well. Even the glow around the lights is new. And that was it. 2 hours, well, nearly 2 hours 23, 83 miles. 83 miles, loved it, absolutely loved it. We got a gold medal, 10,000 AP. That's not a lot, is it? But that's it with the freight runs. You do them for the enjoyment, not the driver level or anything like that. So, thanks for joining me. Hope you enjoyed it. It was a good run. I really did enjoy that, and I'm glad we did it. And I'm glad the weather turned out actually how it did. Plenty to see, even though it was dark. So thanks again for joining me, and we'll be back again with something maybe over the weekend, but certainly early next week, if not the weekend. So until then, take care, enjoy your evening, and I'll see you soon. Thanks, everybody.